Good morning, everybody. It is Friday at 10 a.m., and we're here for another episode of What's Your Dish Conversations, where I invite guests of friends that I know in my world from my last few years of entrepreneurship or those that I have yet to meet by virtue of people watching this. What's Your Dish Conversations are the who, what, why, where, and how of how my guests show up in their life and their business, or what I like to call their business of life. And so today I am joined by my good friend, Kelly Flood, who we're going to talk about all things human design, but also a lot of other topics. She is one of my favorite people for an abundance of reasons, but also because she is a super supporter of initiatives that I do, and I'm very grateful for her and those that she serves and all of the good things. So I noticed, Kelly, that you've got human design coach down there. So I have you to introduce yourself. No, it's fine, because again, you are, which we'll talk about, but you have so many other offerings. And so I'll invite you now, Kelly, to introduce yourself and tell everybody what your dish is all about.
Oh, my dish. We serve it up to you.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Starting about the dish. Hi all. Thanks so much for joining us. Today is a Venus day, Vendredi, Friday. So it's all about the love. So we're gonna ooze some love into the conversation today. Who am I and what do I do? Professionally, speech and language pathologist, about over 30 years practicing in that field, and did a long stint in a school board setting, and then left in 2022, said, I'm going to redesign my life, and took some courses with virtual coaching certifications, and human design came to me just before 2020. So big opportunity to dive into what is this, and it just lit up my life. And last year I took a parenting by design certification. So the focus is slowly shifting, and just this week I've redesigned in my head how I'm going to put myself back out there. So for anyone listening, I'm going to be your pocket parent coach. That is the focus of my future, and I'm currently in the middle of putting the structure and the offer together for that. So that's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
That's amazing. Yeah. Foundation work right now, I think, is really key for designing what the rest of this year is going to look like. And then next, and then ongoing, like really tapping into what brings you joy, how you can serve in an authentic and loving way to whomever may need your services, and all of that good stuff. So I very much align with that myself. And I'm super proud of watching your journey. So we met, I don't even like, it's funny. I think we met through Amanda Gabato. Did we not? Is that how we met?
We met through Fem City.
Okay.
Donna Henderson invited me in, and it was when everything was virtual. So we
Got it.
actually didn't meet in person until probably when I left the board, like 2022.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I remember after when just meeting you, you starting to talk about retirement and what that looked like for you, and what you didn't want it to look like, and all the things. And so it's been fun to watch you over the last few years getting the certifications and tapping into what brings you joy, and then now figuring out, because it doesn't happen overnight. Anybody that's watching that's an entrepreneur knows that, like, it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. And so I think it's lovely that you've invested in yourself and the things that bring you joy that now translate to how you can serve and support others in their journey. So I've had another guest, funny enough, from FemCity, that does human design, but in a different way than you. And this is also what I find so fascinating by human design, because it's such a unique framework, and it's limitless, I feel, in opportunities to use it to help others. And so foundationally, again, for the purpose of sharing what human design is, Kelly, can you tell us what human design is, and then we'll get into how you use it and that kind of thing.
For sure. It's the intersection, excuse me, between science and spirituality. It is a new tool to our earthly plane. It's only been around in terms of knowledge being shared for about 40 years. And it is, yeah, it came to this gentleman, Robert Allen, and I can never remember his last name, but he changed his name to Ra Uru, and he had a 12-day vision quest with this voice that downloaded this system into existence. And then he started teaching it. And that was in about 1987 in Ibiza. So it's just like we're on the leading edge of this being everywhere. I'm sure you see it everywhere, wherever you go in your socials, if you're in the world of sort of personal development and business development such. So what is it? It is a map of the mechanics of how your energy works. Every single one of us is a very unique being. And every single one of us is here for whatever purpose we're here for, to exist, to be, to love, to live, to have fun, to feel all the feels and do all the do's. And what happens in our world is we get conditioned to be different than who we are, or to act or speak different than what we know to be true to who we are. So this tool helps people reconnect with the true essence of how their energy works. And it is also in, so I took my training through Karen Curry Parker, and her training is called Quantum Human Design. She recognized that the language that was being used when human design came in felt very limiting, and she wanted to infuse language that had a higher frequency and almost like more positivity. And I say that very, very loosely, but really to infuse, there's a shift in how human design is. The original teaching was yourself and you're not self, and you're not self being the conditioned person who you're doing and being and acting and saying all the things that are out of alignment with who you are. And that it's a 7-year process to decondition yourself out of that conditioning so that you do show up and are in alignment and in integrity with the mechanics of the energy of how you show up in the world. So what does that mean, right? Like what does that all mean?
Exactly.
In the world of personal development and business development, there are so many tools out there. There is the Myers-Briggs, there is the 360, I don't even know what that one's called. There's the colors, there's the Enneagram, there's the Strengths Finder. I'm looking up on my shelf because I got a lot of them here.
Got all of them?
They all require you to answer questions. Human design you only need to give your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location. And I'm able to share with you how your energy works in the world. And often it's very similar or different, highly different than what you've done with any of those other tools. And you can see where the conditioned forces come into play. Excuse me. So I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
What is this? Where are we at? So the intersection between science and spirituality is that human design combines the Eastern astrology, the Western astrology, the Hindu chakra system, the Chinese I Ching system, and quantum physics. And you're like, huh? How does that work with quantum? Well, we are once in a lifetime cosmic events. Those are Karen's words. And we can put our order into the universe and sit back and let it happen. What does that mean? That means that the story that we tell of who we are is the filter or the kaleidoscope through which we move through the world. And if we're going to level ourselves up and start to show up in our authentic energy, we need to tell a different story. We need to believe and honor and respect our individual abilities and our uniqueness and our authenticity. And if we've been telling a story that's so out of alignment with who we are, what are the steps to tell a story that is more in alignment with who we are? The reason I use it for parenting is that our children come into the world with so many beautiful gifts. They come in wiser than we are,
Mm.
and they are more our teachers than we are their teachers. We might be guides for them, but they level us up. And why would I ever want to put onto my child all my worries, all my stresses? I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to burden them with that, would I? I don't want to. So human design says, well, here's the energy and the mechanics of how your child's design is meant to show up in the world. So let's honor that. Let's put that as much into play so they can live their most beautiful, authentic self. Because when you're around people who are authentic, you level up too. They call you forward, right? So let's put this into the parenting world and help parents really give them some really good practical tools. And I'm all about practical. My profile is 5-1. Get in, give the practical, get out. What do you need from me? Which is why the parent pocket coach, right? Whenever you need me, just reach into your pocket and I'm here for you. But I don't need to be holding your hand every step of the way because that doesn't work for my energetics.
Right.
That's not how I authentically show up.
So
long story there, but that's how parenting, that's how human design works in the world of parenting. You can certainly use it in the world of business, you can use it in the world of relationship, but ultimately, what is it? It's who are you and how are you designed to show up with your energetics in the world.
Yeah. And I can attest to that, having received mine quite a few years ago. And you were saying, and I hadn't ever heard the 7-year journey with it. So I find that interesting because I think I'm about year 5 since learning, because I don't like, I know what my profile is and all of that. We've talked about it at length. But just what you were saying about getting different elements of it, the awareness of how I work in the world now allows me to make better choices about, for me, from a business perspective. So as an example, and I think I talked about this when I chatted with I know a lot of people that do human design. But so I'm a generator, and we won't get into the mechanics of it. If you want to know, reach out to Kelly and you can get your human design. So as an example, though, I'm a generator, and my energy from a yes, no perspective, if something comes at me, I go into my gut. So, which is ironic because for my entire life, I've attributed the feeling that I have in my stomach to anxiety. And so that has been how I've worked in the world forever. Like my story goes, almost every morning I've woken up for my entire life, I have this gut feeling, again, attributed to anxiety, come along my path, learn about human design, and that feeling, and under certain circumstances, obviously, but if an opportunity comes to me, that feeling, which is the same feeling that I have, is my body either rejecting or saying, heck yes, this is something that you need to tap into and explore more and all of that. So just that little bit of knowledge about my chart as a whole gives me insight to how I can make better decisions. And so when you look at what you do, Kelly, wouldn't it be lovely as a parent to understand your children from an energetic level? Because again, I can speak for myself to say that I've conditioned my kids based on what I've learned from my learnings and my upbringing. And like, we all have done it, and not from a case of like, we don't do it on purpose, but it's just generationally our stuff has come up and we give it lovingly to our children who then carry it on. So I'm going to give you, Kelly knows this, so just through certain, again, friends that I know, so energetically, as an example, in my household there are 5 uh, profiles. Is that the right word?
Energy.
Energy.
Auras.
Okay. We in our
Energy
family
auras.
have
Yeah.
4 out of the 5. So as like I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, Kelly, but if I have 4 out of the 5 energies in my house and I'm the only one that's aware of what that energy looks like, how can I tap into that knowledge to be I'm going to just put it in air quotes, a better parent? And that's probably not the right verbiage to use. And Kelly is the best at reframing things I say. So I will just give you the platform to do that.
How would you tap in to feel more confident in your skills as a parent? Is
There
that
you
more
go.
what you're looking for?
That's what I was wanting to
So just understanding the energy types is incredible information. Like you can just start there. And every energy type has what's called a strategy and authority. So ultimately, the very first step that anybody would take is to recognize what is your strategy, what is your authority for making decisions. So you mentioned that you're a generator type. So a generator is also a manifesting generator. That's about 70% of the population. And if you look at the design of the human design chart, that means that the sacral center is defined, meaning you have consistent access to sacral energy. And that is the place that is the decision maker that loves yes, no questions. Okay. The other design types, projector, reflector, manifester, have open sacral centers, meaning that they need a different way to tap into how they make their decisions. Remember, this is the mechanics of how your energy works. So if you have someone who needs to, let's just say I think it's called the self-projector. I get the terms all mixed up myself. I've always got to look at them. This is a person with an open sacral who needs to talk, and in their talking, they come to the decision that feels right for them. Okay.
Nice. Yep.
So let's say you as a generator parent love all your yes, no questions, and you want to get the answer, and it's sacral yes, and you don't need to wait for anything. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And you have a projector child who needs the time to talk through, to get their decisions and figure out what it is that they want to do. Right there is conditioning, because that projector has that open sacral. They'll borrow for a little bit of time your sacral energy and feel like it's theirs and get the energy to go and do, but then they burn themselves out. So now you have this generator energy parent who's going, this projector energy. I'm just saying projector because I know one of the people in your home is that type. They're like borrowing all and amplifying all this sacral energy, and they feel like it's theirs, but in their own aura, they actually don't have access to that consistently. So if you're throwing yes, no questions at them all the time, they're learning, they're being conditioned to act like a generator energy type when they're not. Right. So just from that place, if you have the awareness and knowledge that an open sacral energy type in your home who needs time to talk out things to help make a decision, just that already changes your communication dynamics. Yeah. Already. You then don't ask yes, no questions. Open sacral energy type, projector, reflector, manifester, love the wonderment questions. I'm wondering how it feels for you too. I'm curious about this. How does this land for you? Don't ask me that. I'm like, I don't know. Ask me, do you like it? Oh yeah, no, I don't. Because generator and manifesting generator energy type like the yes, no, because we live in response to the world around us. So sometimes it's even harder to generate an answer if there's nothing for us to respond to. So I can say, do you want to eat dinner now? And you're like, yeah. Well, what do you want? I don't know. Do you want Chinese food? Oh no, I don't want Chinese. Something to right? Feel the difference. What do you want versus do you want Chinese food?
Huh. Interesting. I had a whole scenario that's happened in my family in relation to that go on. And it's normally about exactly what you said, what we want to eat. how the different energy plays out in that conversation. And it gets frustrating, which then we take it full circle. And when you understand what everybody, then you can pose the questions to get the answer, to get to the literally, like, what are we ordering for dinner, which is not a hard concept, to get to the answer quicker. And that, right? Like, that's so interesting. I feel like we could talk about,
So if,
yeah, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, so as an example, practical strategy coming in, if you know that you have those types in your house, on a Friday is the day we order in, you might say to the open sacral people, tonight we're ordering in dinner. I'm wondering what you're feeling like you're going to have. Here's some things to consider through the day. And then for your other types, so like the yes, no, you're like, do you want to have this tonight? Do you want to have this now? Maybe it's not right now that you get to make the decision. Maybe I don't have enough information. Yes. Right. So the answer could be no, I don't want Chinese, or it could be, I don't really know. And you're like, is it the right time to make the decision? No. Ask me in a couple of hours. Okay.
Interesting. Wow. And so it's funny because I just had a voice in my head go, it sounds like a lot of work to understand your people in order to get the results and things. So, which is totally fine. But again, for somebody that wants to, because I want to get into the practical pocket coaching, less about the nitty gritty of the human design and how you support with your tools and stuff. So actually, we'll dive right into that. So what does that, because I actually forget the question I was going to say. So with the practical,
you said it was a lot of work. You felt like it was.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So a lot of work. So to dive into all of that, maybe like, is it beneficial? Maybe you have strained energy with only one person in your family, right? And everything's working out seemingly well with the others. And there's one that's maybe a little more challenging and whatnot. So this practical pocket coaching, I'd like you to share what that looks like for somebody, because you and I have talked about it and I understand it. But I really think I know that it really is a different flavor for coaching, right? Like the coaching industry right now is take my 6-week program and I will do something revolutionary and transform you. And after 6 weeks, you're on your merry way and you're fixed. This practical pocket coaching is a lens of, yes, it may be on a journey, but is it, and I'm going to let you just explain it. Is it more of a, like when I think of a pocket coach, if I have a question, how do I access you on a regular basis? And maybe you're still fleshing this out, but practical pocket coaching sounds different to me and a unique offering. And so I'm going to stop talking and allow you to share what that looks like.
I am still fleshing it out. It just came to me yesterday. It's been ruminating and ruminating. I don't yet know what it looks like in terms of like specific offerings per se. However, you don't need somebody to talk to every day, but you do need somebody to talk to. And it's the what keeps you up at night questions. It's the maybe my family would be better if I wasn't the one nagging all the time. So I'm just going to go take myself on a 1-month holiday because they'll be fine. Nobody needs me because every time I show up in the room, everybody leaves. I think I've failed my kids. Like that one just hits your heart, right? Mm-hmm. And yet I can guarantee you that almost every parent at some point in their life has said that to themselves.
100%.
And more than once.
Yeah, absolutely. On a weekly basis, but no.
Oh, I'm your pocket parent.
There you go.
I say pocket parent coaching because ultimately there's no truth in that statement that you failed your children. There isn't. But when you're in it, you need somebody else to help see it differently for you and paint a different picture at the same time that they're going to give some strategies to you of how to step yourself out of that but know that, yeah, it does take work and it might feel hard. But which hard do you want to choose, as you keep hearing people say? Do you want to choose the hard of staying stuck in that ruminating thought, or do you want to choose the hard that will bring you out of that and into something that honors your children and you? So a lot of this is actually personal. Why am I hearing an echo?
I don't know.
All of a
You
sudden,
sound
I'm
fine to
hearing
me.
an echo.
You're good.
Weird. Anyway,
You're good on this end.
wow. Okay, maybe it's just my microphone.
Oh, you're totally fine on this end.
Sorry.
Your faces are priceless. There's a good reel coming, just FYI.
It's bizarre to hear your own self back again.
Oh, well, you can play around with it if you want. That's weird because nothing shifted unless you had maybe you got a message or something which changed your audio file.
Let's try.
I'm fine on my end. You good?
On my end.
So I'm not yet because I can still hear you. You're good? Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, you still said, yeah, you totally still sound the same. So it's all good. Although do I sound funny? Okay, so I forget what we were talking about with what you were talking. Oh, about the practical
You're talking about
coaching.
sitting, sitting in that icky space.
Yeah.
So how do you have access to me? That all that is still to be fleshed out. However, sometimes we need somebody not close to the situation to help us through it. You can go to your girlfriends, you can go to your guy friends, you might go to your parent, but they see you differently. And they're like, it's okay, you'll get through it. And you want maybe somebody to say, it's okay, you'll get through it, and it's hard. And it's okay that it's hard, because this is it. And I'm here to help you through it. And I'm here to call you on, or call you up, call you out, call you up, pull you through. I'm not going to do the heavy lifting, but I'll certainly help you set those posts, those guideposts for you. And here's the thing, the minute, and we've all experienced this, the minute you make a change in your own behaviors, whatever they are, it impacts, it ripples out, and it will have an impact on the people around you. And it may look more chaotic and messy initially. Yeah. Because they're like, what the heck is going on? But the more that you are consistent showing up for yourself in whatever decisions you make to make those small changes, and the more you're consistent with it, this is where the authenticity piece comes in. The more that your family can trust that, oh, you're always going to show up this way now. Okay, I can breathe a little sigh.
Nice. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is why it's hard when you make the change, because they're like, wait, I'm so used to you acting like this. And why are you not now? And I don't really know what to do with this. And so then when you consistently show up with the changed behavior, they're like, oh, okay. And then things settle down. And then, of course, the next issue shows up, because we move through developmental stages. We move through, oh, once I figured out how one thing works, maybe I'm going to go and try a new way in another area, and it falls flat. And so I'm here for that for you too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a nice way to look at it, right? Like you're helping somebody through their journey as the muck or whatever comes up, right? Rather than, and it may end up being this way, but rather than it's one topic, so say self-doubt, and you're constantly talking about the self-doubt piece of it. Like, yes, it's definitely necessary, but maybe there's only one aspect of that, and then there's 5 other things that all impact that same one. So let's figure out what strategies. And I like that word that you use, the strategy piece of it, because we all from a coaching perspective, we love to get the information, but what is the strategy to actually implement it and change and make the change? Because and it's all about choice, right? We can learn all the things all day long, but until you implement them and make them livable and see how it feels to be this new version of me, then like, yeah, it's just so having somebody there that can help you in the moments along on the journey, I think is a lot more unique and special than staying with, like, somebody may stay with you for the course, but like for the course of time, I mean, but not in a course necessarily, I guess is the best way to put it.
Exactly.
But that
And
said,
if I know
yeah,
your human design,
yeah,
then I am better situated to ask you the right kinds of questions to help you come to your own decision about what works best in your home. Because it's your value set, it's your integrity, it's your home dynamics that matter, not mine.
right. Right.
Right.
So I'm gonna, because I believe, well, I know because I looked on your website. So you're offering something up coming up at the later part of March with two other colleagues that do different work, and it's called Embrace Your Magnetic Self. It is an online course. And so I'd like you to share a bit about what that looks like. So the upcoming one, just from a dates perspective, it starts March 20th and goes till May 8th. And for somebody, so I don't know this. So it's not, or I believe it's not geared towards just parents. So we've done all this discussing with Kelly about parenting. Kelly is multifaceted in the sense of her wanting to give and empower and be a creative problem solver for parents and humans in general. And so I'd like you to share about what this course is about. Share your collaborators if you want to, and what that looks like for somebody that may be looking for what this offering is.
Yes. So it came to me, I don't know, probably about almost 2 years ago, I guess, that there needs to be, we need. Our world is very heady. Our world is very here. We are less here. Although this is the only place we need to be working from is our heart. And in human design, there is what's called the G Center. It's the Center for Love and Direction. And you don't need to know anything about human design to do the course. Absolutely not. What I wanted to do was to bring the themes of each of the gates that are in that heart center forward for people to explore and really get a sense of what does this mean for me? And my friend Martha, who also happens to be a speech language pathologist, who also happened to leave the school board that she was working from around the same time that I did, we actually met in a business community. And her whole focus is on stress-proof your voice. Her whole focus is on how can you speak your truth with authenticity. And everything she does is somatic and vocal work. She also does Hoya-inspired movement, dance, which is about getting into your body and knowing what's going on in your body. And in the world of human design, there's a lot of wisdom in our body. In fact, it's our body that carries the most wisdom that we're not very aware of. So I was like, oh, let's do something together with this. I don't know what it's going to look like. And then we invited my friend Carolyn in, who works as an emotional release coach using essential oils. And the way she talks about it is that, you know, when you try to pull weeds out of a garden and everything's dry and you're like, not working. But if you give it a little bit of water, you kind of titrate that soil, loosen it up a little bit, then you can pull the weeds. Well, that's kind of how the essential oils work. So the three of us have collaborated to create what's called Embrace Your Magnetic Self. Why magnetic? From our hearts, research shows, heart math shows, and I also am heart math certified, that when our heart is calibrated to love, to authenticity, and we know our heart emanates about 3 feet out of us. an electromagnetic frequency field from our brain is only 3 inches. So let's think
Hmm.
about it. We make
Wow.
decisions from our brain and it's this much, but when we make decisions and show up in our world magnetically from our electro frequency, that's why you feel people before you think about them. You feel that energy come in the room, right? So how do we calibrate that so that it's vibrating authentically to who we are? So what we did is, through the use of journaling, through the use of essential oils, through the use of movement, we explore the themes of those gates and we learn a little bit more about who we are. There's no homework. It's 90 minutes. It's your choice if you want to do the journal questions after and do all of the work after. But what I do know is that at the end of those 8 weeks, everyone's gone on their own personal journey and transformed something in some ways.
Hmm.
One of the previous people, one of the gates in the human design is called Universal Love, and she has that gate activated in her chart. And as we went through that day, she had this, we could feel it. We all felt it on the call. She's like, I've been showing up as myself the whole time, and I thought I was wrong.
Oh, wow.
And all she says is, all I want to do is love on people. And I
Hmm.
just show up all the time with my heart wide open, loving on people. And people made me feel wrong for it. And
Hmm.
just that twist in her whole life changed for her. I don't know if it changed on the outside, but in that moment, she just had this realization that I've been me. I've been me the whole time. And
Hmm.
this one small thing. So it's a beautiful course. You get a curated package of 10 oils sent to you. Martha's incredible at creating playlists that has music gets right into the body. And then I'm the heady one. I'm the one like, let's get in, get it all out of your head first. So it's a
Nice.
really very unique intersection. And we absolutely love it. And it's for anyone.
That's
Anyone,
amazing.
doesn't matter how old you are. So yeah, online, spring cohort starts March 20th. The link is live. I guess I'll send it to you or it goes
Yep.
somewhere on here. I don't know.
Yep.
We will run one, sort of like end of May, June, July on Sunday mornings. And then we're going to run another one in November because let's get into a little bit of astrology and human design. The planets transit through all of the gates in the human design chart. And so we're going to take advantage of the energies of those when we go into the courses.
Smart. And for some people watching this, they're like, what did she just say?
Yeah,
Gates of what? And you're what?
exactly.
So,
That's why I said you
well,
don't need to
I
know about it. I did
no,
it.
yeah, but I think it's interesting because we could get into this about events and all of this because me being an event planner, you putting out an offering, and just somebody watching this and hears that. If Where am I wanting to take this without being necessarily negative? That's not where I'm going with this, but I think it's what I'm feeling right now is energetically people they want to dip their toes into this type of stuff, but they're not quite ready to jump. And so perhaps things of that, like when you talk about astrology and things like that, it might scare some people because it's like,
Mm-hmm,
oh, I don't
mm-hmm,
understand what that means. So that course is not meant for me. But I would argue to say that's a bit of like, if you don't understand it, then that's a bit of the dipping your toes in. And why would you not want to dive in? Because if if your curiosity is piqued. So, and I'll use an example because you mentioned heart math. I know that you've been heart math certified. I know other people that are heart math certified, but I have no idea what heart math is. So,
mm-hmm,
not that that would inhibit me from joining the course, but again, for the purposes of this, because I'm putting words in your mouth, but through this course, you're bringing in all of the tools that you have. You said heart math. I don't necessarily need to know what heart math is in order to be part of it, but I may learn some things from you about what that
mm-hmm,
modality looks like from
mm-hmm,
getting into this program. So I will ask, without going a deep dive into it, what heart math is and how it benefits people to, I'm going to say, receive the learnings from heart
Mhm.
math, and I don't know if that's the right verbiage to use, so I'll leave it at that.
Mm. So heart math, I don't know as much about how long they've been around, what they've been doing, but they're very incredibly research based, and they do a lot of work around. And you'll hear a lot of people talking about gut brain connection, heart brain, and whatever. Our heart is the most wise center in our bodies. And so what happens is we have what's called heart rate variability and heart coherence. And heart rate variability is, when you're in a stressful situation and you're like,
Mm.
your heart rate
I'm in the
variability
hockey
is all
arena.
over the
What?
place.
Yeah.
Yes, like we've talked about. Or you
Yep.
witness a car in front of you sliding all over and you're like, oh my God, it's gonna hit me.
Mm.
The heart rate variability is how quickly can you get back into heart coherence? Because the
Ah.
quicker you can get back into heart coherence and get heart centered and heart focused, then it takes you out of that sort of flight, fight, freeze, fawn kind of what we call amygdala hijack in some places. And when you get into this heart coherence and you're into this space where, oh, okay, I'm back, I can regulate through my heart space, I'm better able to make a clearer decision because I'm more in my body. I haven't kind of like, whoop, frozen
Mm.
out of my body type thing. So heart rate and heart rate variability, heart coherence, and there are a number of different types of techniques that we learn through heart math certification that we can bring into clinical settings and therapeutic settings and such. So um, it pairs really nicely with the Embrace Your Magnetic Self because it is through our heart center that we calibrate that electromagnetic field that heart math researches. So
Nice.
it's a really nice pairing. So yes, I can talk all the technical pieces of the course. Ultimately, are you feeling a little bit lost? And do you feel like you need to get a little more connected to your heart? And if you do, and you were like, I don't really know what you're going to use, but you're curious about movement, you're curious about getting into your body, you want to know a little bit about the oils and maybe a little bit about human design, then our course will teach you some of those things. But ultimately, the goal is we all need to be heart centered. We all need to be right back here because this is all that matters is love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the world could use a lot more of it. And so you've touched on it, and I think I'm guilty of knowing the verbiage but not necessarily what it means. And you've been talking about it, and maybe you've already defined or answered this question, but I'm going to ask because I've heard it so often said that it like the sentence is get out of your head and into your heart, right?
Mm.
But for people that haven't been on it, like what does that mean? So
What
if
does that mean?
what does that mean? Because we all want to, I think like we all want to live from love and be loving and express love and all of that. And to your point, we're in our head all the time. So how do we in a decision, so let's use an example about a decision. So say I have a big decision to make and I use that word get out of my head because my head's saying the reasons to do it, the reasons not to do it, all of that. Can I make a decision instead of my head from my heart to get an answer of whether to say yes or no? Is that is
Mhm.
like what does that look like to you? And i'm I'm assuming, even though we don't assume, that this course will help somebody understand what that means.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, this to me is where the intersection of human design and heart decision makes sense
Mm.
because when you know your strategy and authority for making your decisions, you're in your authentic space and your authentic energy at that point. And you may have heard of something called the consciousness scale, David Hawkins' consciousness scale,
Nope.
which measures the frequency and the vibration and attaches sort of emotional names to it. So guilt and shame, which
Mm.
vibrate fairly
Yes,
low.
got it. I know what you're talking about.
Authenticity has a higher frequency vibration than love.
Does it really?
Yes,
Oh, I thought love was the highest one. Okay, keep going.
most of us do. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, the more authentic you are, human design, get into your strategy and authority, show up as your most authentic self. Only from that space can love exist, can love
Yeah.
blow out.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Oh, that's
right.
interesting.
So how do you get out of your head and into your heart is through getting into your body and finding the wisdom in your body, which is where the strategy and authority from human design decision making comes in. The intersection is pretty wild.
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to share what your website is. And I know you gave me on like the information. So because we've talked about human design a lot, but it also the courses on your website and whatnot, I'd like you to share what the website is and then answer the question of, so somebody watches this and has never heard of human design before, is curious, can they get their human design reading through you, and is it accessible from your website? I know the answer, but
Yes,
other people don't.
yes, and yes. kellyflood.ca, absolutely. There's a little blurb about who I am on there, and there is a feel like it's like a contact form or something, like connect with me, because my schedule is all over the place. I can't plug in a Calendly or a Zoom calendar on my website because I never know where I am.
Yep.
However, it's a lot easier if you connect with me through that contact form that's on my website. If you'd like to have a one-on-one human design reading completed, the sign up link for Embrace Your Magnetic Self course is live on there. And then you'll see something about parenting by design program. Like, ignore the prices that are on there. I'm gonna figure out how to hide that page because that offering is coming. I just don't yet have that solid. So
Right. Yeah.
but it is there. And the parent pocket coaching stuff, if that's something you're interested in, there is a sign up for my newsletter or connect with me on my website. So, or I'm on Instagram, or again here on LinkedIn. So pretty
Love it.
accessible.
Love it. Love it. Okay, we're going to tap into, because again, I can see the time. And as usual, these conversations go on because there's fantastic and all the information that gets given. This is where I bring up the tools that I use in my businesses, the courses that I do, the workshops, and all the good things. They are called Points of View. And my favorite is this one called Punctum. And these are used for everything from conversation starters to real workshops to in a coaching format, like long or short, in the sense of bringing a problem and working through it by yourself or with others to really see a different perspective on the challenge, and then gain some insights and then create actions items or action steps to move forward, which is all of what coaching is about and whatnot. But for this purpose, I like to use it to talk about the tools, but also get perspective from my guests. So the way that we do it here is I ask my guest, would you like to give your perspective on a random word or a random question?
You're asking an open-ended question to a sacral.
Do you want a word? Do you want a
No.
word? Do you want a
No.
question?
Yes.
There you go.
See?
See, that's how it works.
That works? That's exactly how I'm like, I don't really know. Ask me, yes, no.
Well, isn't that funny how that came full circle? Because that's how we were talking about it at the beginning, right? And look at me, that I clearly didn't catch the memo because I didn't ask you the proper way. So I have 33 questions here that I'm just tarot like shuffling until one or three, but I'll pick one pop out. And ooh, this one might get juicy. And these are, again, you, Kelly, answer it within your bandwidth in order to share for this one in particular. And they are, again, as we use them in processes, it tends to follow a flow, and the questions sometimes really challenge you to think, again, in order to shift the perspective. But in this case, what is it time to forgive, Kelly?
Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? Forgiveness has come up a lot this week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And I'm just going to throw it out here. If you know the Ho'oponopono, which is I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
What is it time to forgive? It's time to forgive. It's time to forgive all the stories that I told of who I was as a parent.
Ooh. Oh, I'm just getting all the shivers. Yeah, that is, and yeah.
Charlie's whining in the corner, my little dog.
Oh, really? Wants to
So
go out to the forest?
He must
Oh,
agree.
hungry.
No,
Nice.
agree. He says yes, Mom, that's
Oh,
right.
oh, yes, because Charlie's been around for all of your parenting journey. Yes.
Good chunk of it.
Good chunk of it.
Half of it. Half of it. More than half. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting, thank you for sharing that because it's vulnerable, right? And I think a lot of, if a lot of us as parents are, wherever, no matter whether you're a new parent or 18 years in or almost 18 years in, like I am, forgiving yourself for things that are based on conditioning and things like all we've talked about, it's not easy to do, right? And some of us, not like, from a case of like, there's a lot of guilt and shame and things, so right, and it's really hard to forgive yourself. And what does that look like on the other side when you start to do that? I would like to think you become more confident, the decisions that you make, or the, I one thing in my that comes to mind, if you were to take the journey and learn and all of that, is reactivity to different things. Or there's a woman that I follow on Instagram, and it caught me. And these are finding that people are learning more about me and my behaviors through these conversations. But she's a remarkable woman of being able to present things and then letting them sit with you about how you react to them. So in this particular case, it was she was dropping something and it shattered, like the notion was it shattered all over the floor. And what's your immediate reaction when you see that? So it's not even happening to you, but, and for me, I got anxiety right away, right? And then could be for some people, that is immediately where you step into shaming the person that dropped it, all that kind of stuff. So then after that, all that happens, then you sit there and you ruminate over the things that you could have done differently and all of that. So these are the types of things that it's done. It's time to forgive yourself for doing them. And how can you do better? Would that make sense in the grand scheme of things, Kelly?
I think it's not even how can you do better. I think that sitting in the forgiveness is saying it happened and there is no story.
Ooh, yeah, we could dive into that one really quick too, but there's so many different directions we could take it, Kelly, but we're bumping up time and all the good things. So the last question that I will ask is, because this is a what's your dish conversation, what is your favorite dish? Do you have something that you like to make, a restaurant that you like to support? Because you made bread. Sorry, this is not your favorite dish, but you made bread a little while ago, did you not? Did I not see you share some things about a bread making process?
I was one of those jump on the sourdough bandwagon people over the COVID stuff. Right. I don't have a dish per se, but I do make chocolate chip cookies a lot.
Ooh, for yourself or for people in your chocolate chip cookie? I love a good chocolate chip cookie.
It was my mom's birthday and my nephew's birthday a couple weeks ago, so we had family gathering, and I decided that I would make brownies and then roll them in little balls and then put chocolate chip cookie around the brownie and then bake the cookie. And my nephew was like, okay, I didn't think you could improve on a chocolate chip cookie, but this is awesome.
Wow.
So for a 16-year-old to say this is awesome, I think it did okay.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, it's such a staple cookie, right? Like we get ones every once in a while that are oatmeal chocolate chip, and they literally do not last in our house for longer than a half a day. And
Yeah.
which is, yeah, it's crazy. Thank you for sharing that. I might just text you later and go, can I get that chocolate chip recipe? Chocolate chip cookie recipe? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's all in your head.
It's one of those, you know, it's like when you ask your grandma and she's like a pinch of this and a bit of
Oh,
that, and I don't know.
yeah.
One of those.
Well, I might still force you to sit down. But anyways, um, again, so just to reiterate, if anybody's watching and interested in the Embrace Your Magnetic Self online course, it starts on March 20th, and you can go to Kelly's website, which is kellyflood.ca. I encourage you to, because yes, we get to see the surface here of my guests and what they like to do in their life and their business. But the website tells more about Kelly and really gives you an insight into who she is, and then booking that call with her and getting to know how she works, and if you were going to work together, because that's a whole other conversation we could have had, right? From a human design element. Not every person you talk to is somebody that you're aligned with to work with. So it's very important to, and yes, you're the practical pocket coach, but let's make sure that our energies match and that we're good, like it's going to work from a good working relationship before we really enter into it. So please go look at that website and reach out to Kelly, because you will definitely leave any conversation with Kelly, because I can attest to it from our many walks and talks, that you will leave a conversation feeling inspired, feeling I'm going to say, and this sounds awful, but in a good way, it's like discombobulated, in the sense of Kelly gets you to really think about things differently. She'll give you information and allow you to take it in and reflect on how it can really help you move the needle on what you're going through life and business wise. So please reach out to Kelly and connect with her. And Kelly, thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate you in so many ways, and I wish you all the best as you continue on your journey, and all the good things about all the things that you're coming out with to support parents and people on their journey. I thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed my morning.
Ah,
We'll see if we
amazing.
can get you some chocolate chips.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And if you are watching this and interested in being a guest, please do reach out to me at heather@dishevents.ca. We'll get you scheduled in, and you can showcase yourself in the way that you want to and share about your dish with guests. And I look forward to that. And for now, I'm wishing you a fantastic Friday, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you when we see you. Happy Friday, everybody. Take care.